Hey guys, I'm Naya. Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm joined by Ivan again. He's becoming quite a regular guest on the channel. I think this is your third time here, right?
Yep.
I
Third
think
video.
it is. Yeah, so
Yep.
he got first place at the OTS Championship on Saturday and he piloted Swordsoul and it's just it's a cool Swordsoul build. It's not based, it's not anything wild, but it's a very dope build and he's a very knowledgeable player. So I'm guessing you're just gonna enjoy this deck profile a lot. Welcome back to the channel.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, Sword Soul. Well, I guess we can just get right into it, right? I don't think there's like that much to say about Sword Soul.
Right.
It's kind of
Well,
just boring.
maybe
Sure, go
before
ahead.
that, if you just want to go over a couple, I guess, notes on the entire event and how you feel this version of the deck performed, why you chose it, just, stuff like that, or maybe an important matchup that happened to you, anything like that. He also, I should point out, he was a third after Swiss, and then he won the entire thing, and you went 5-1 in Swiss, right?
Yeah, 5-1 in Swiss because due to COVID and like space measurements, how it works here, the whole event had like 90 players, but it's split into Swiss 1 and
90.
Swiss 2. Yeah, the
Oh,
whole event
okay.
had like 90 players in 90, 92, somewhere in that range. I don't know. I don't remember
Mm-hmm.
specifically. But the way it works is that it's split into Swiss 1 and Swiss 2. And then
Mm-hmm.
Swiss 1 gets their top 8 and Swiss 2 gets their top 8. And then afterwards, like after both Swisses play out, it's combined. So that's how it works. Because of COVID and space measurements, they just had no other way to do it. And then we play
Mm-hmm.
out top 16 and we go from there. So I went 3-1 in Swiss 1. I got third after Swiss and I went 5-1 in Swiss 1. That's how it went. And
Aha, okay,
objectively,
cool.
objectively, no, I hope I don't offend anyone from Swiss 2, but Swiss 1 was harder. So, you know,
I mean, but
uh,
that's like you said,
you know,
objectively. If it was harder, then that's how
objectively,
it is.
Swiss 1 was harder. So we'll just put it that way. Yeah. As for matchups, honestly, I don't even remember my matchups. Everything was. I think it was something along the lines of PK, Sky Striker, Virtual World, Brave, Ignister, and I think my last match was Dragon Link. I think that
Mm-hmm.
those were the decks. I don't remember in which order, but every match was a 2-1 because my deck kind of like yeah, it's weird. Like I think you can drop a game, but like post side usually you just always win. And kind of the
How do you
reason why
view
I
Sword Soul in in the format? Like in the grand scheme of things, how do you view it?
yeah, basically like the reason I had two choices for the event. I had Dragon Link and I had Sword Soul.
Mm-hmm.
I Dragon Link, I'm like very familiar with the deck. It's like my basically my comfort pick. I
Mm-hmm.
know and Sword Soul is too, before like I continue. I know like everything about it, but I figure that like for the event, it's gonna be better to play Sword Soul like based on the meta that was shaping up and that was building in Croatia. So what I noticed was that there was like a lot of Eldritch, that there was a lot of Prankit, there was a lot of Dragon Link, and
Mm-hmm.
there was like a lot of PK decks, and like some were with Brave, and there was like a few base decks and like some other Brave stuff, but like not much. So I figured that like going into the event, and also there was a lot of Tri Brigade. So I figured that like going
Mm-hmm.
into the
Okay.
event, like Sorcerer just had like amazing matchups into all of those decks. Like
Mm-hmm.
everything that doesn't have Brave, Sorcerer just has a great matchup into it. Like you can't really lose to Eldritch because you have Vishura. So like
Mm-hmm.
even game one, you have like outs to back row. You don't lose to Skill Drain either because you can just go like Chainlink one Boxia. Is that okay? And then if they don't respond, you just like Chainlink to Heavenly Dragon Circle and you just shuffle their back row. So there's like a
Right.
bunch of cool plays for like the deck to just get over stuff. Gozen and Rivalry, the barrier and stuff like that just fell out of the meta. Like no one's playing that. Like legit
No,
no
they're
one's playing
legit
those
not.
cards.
Yeah.
So like Sword Soul is genuinely well positioned to be a good deck. The only thing was like the hand trap meta that was shaping up was like Ash, Ogre, Veiler, Imperm was like or like Ash, Ogre, Veiler, Nibiru, depending on like which deck you're playing, was like
Mm-hmm.
shaping up to be like the best hand trap lineup in the main deck, which I agree with, by the way. I think those are like genuinely the best 5 hand traps you can play right now. Doesn't
They are
matter
for sure.
it doesn't matter which you play, but they're like the
Mm-hmm.
best hand traps right now you can play. So the only issue was like all of those hand traps kind of harm Sword Soul, but I kind of banked on the fact that like no one was maining Nibiru, at least here in Croatia, because like people are usually like a few weeks behind. So I was like, okay, I can just like get away with this consistently, and I can do what like I want to do with this deck, and like I can play it the way I want to play it. So I just made sure that like my deck doesn't lose to one hand trap, and like can try to like beat it more or less consistently. And yeah, I just it sorry, genuinely worked out. And the strong points of the deck, like from previous formats, are still there. Like this deck is still so amazing when it goes second. Like it has so many board breaking tools. It fits so many hand traps, even more now. Like this is a 40 card build. I didn't go over 40, and it plays like 11 hand traps. Like it's amazing. Like and that's what you want the deck to do. It's like a mid-range deck that has like enough hand traps, enough stopping power, enough good engine cards, like strong going second. It just crossed out everything that I wanted it to do, and it doesn't lose to DP. Like for example, one issue like that Dealing has is like it sometimes loses to DP, but with Sorcerer, it's like so hard to lose with DP. Like any, well not any, but like Ashuna Vishuda just instantly forces it out. Like there's just so many ways and tools to deal with things and to play with the deck that it just made sense to play into such a diverse format. And I think it was the correct choice. And going forward, depending on like the ban list and how the ban list goes, and I'm just expecting like on the ban list, maybe they ban Fiber, maybe like a few light hits onto Brave, like Right to 2, Enchantress to 2. I don't expect like more than that.
They're gonna take care of that part of the meta, yeah.
Yeah,
and
yeah, like, maybe like a Verte ban,
whatever.
but you don't really care about Verte being banned or not, because DP being around or not doesn't really matter to your deck.
Right.
I genuinely think Swordsoul like just gonna be like tier 1, like maybe even the best deck going into like Nat
Yeah,
season.
no, it's gonna be busted. I was thinking about it when I was making my, I guess, decks without Brave video, like a couple videos back on my channel, and I remember pointing out how Swordsoul just, it never changed. If you're looking at the basic Swordsoul with just the Protoss gone, it just never changed as a deck in a whole, and it was never bad.
The issue from that ban list, the issue from that ban list actually wasn't even Protoss. Desires going to 1 actually hurt the deck like so much more. I don't think people
because Protoss
even
was just a win more card. Yeah.
It wasn't win more. It like, I wouldn't say it was win more. I think it was needed in some matchups, and when you resolve it, you won instantly. But you really didn't need it for some matchups.
I get your point.
The issue was that Desires just gave you so many power cards and power spots that you wouldn't be able to play otherwise. Like Chainlink 1 Desires, Chainlink 2 Drop, and then like Reoccur All Advantage was like insane. Like stuff like that. Like you just cannot do that now. And you just have to play in like ways that you just have to like approach the deck a bit differently. And you can't play it the same, but like the Desires hit was like what really like put the nail in the coffin for me. So yeah.
I agree
also,
with you,
another thing I want to go on to is that I didn't play Fiber. Now the reason for this, and no, I don't think Fiber is bad. Yes, I think Fiber is good. Yes, I think you should play Fiber in this. Why did I not play Fiber in this? I was too lazy to borrow it. I did not want to deal with people, so I just did not borrow one. I sold mine because I had an ulti one and I wanted to get some value before they
That's genuinely your
drop
only
down.
reason.
The only reason I did not play Fiber is because I sold mine and I did not want to deal with people and borrow stuff.
Okay.
So I did not play Fiber.
But I remember when you were
should play
talking,
Fiber.
and I was reading like your theory, and you said how Fiber is good. So would you want to elaborate on that just a tiny bit? Because I felt like you had some valid points in there.
Yeah, I think Fiber is amazing. I think like Fiber just allows you to beat one hand trap like always consistently with this deck. Like every time you have a tuner, every time you have like any of the power cards, or like when you're playing going second, it allows you to play in the Biru and just normal a tuner, go Fiber full combo. Just gives you so much power, and it gives the deck like the push needed to push through like 1, maybe even 2 hand traps. So Fiber is like insane. I think it's a must play in this deck, and the death spot break doesn't matter. The extra deck spots don't matter. You can fit it. It really, there is space for it. The only reason I didn't play it because didn't want to borrow one.
Right.
And
I love how you put Fiber as like not like a combo you would go towards, but a card that like saves you if you get stopped. It's not like Fiber focused. It's just there, and I think that's a really good take on it.
Yeah, this definitely isn't a Fiber deck. Like I think people like when they play Fiber, they try to like, oh, I have this plus this. I have Ashuna Engrave. I have Adara Monk.
Yeah.
Let me just go into Fiber. You just get Ash and you die. Like, oh, I just killed all of my follow-up. My engine doesn't function anymore. Like, what do I do now? And you don't want to do that stuff. Like when you're playing with Fiber, you would just play Swordsoul. Like play normal Swordsoul. When you get stopped and there's an opportunity to extend into Fiber, do it. Right. It's really like that simple. Like, play normal Swordsoul. When a chance opens up, where you can enter fiber. Don't
Right.
do it before that. Don't do it after
It's
that.
just
If you
a
have,
backup plan at this point.
yeah, it's just push. Like it lets you push more. Like it's never like the main focus of your plays. It's just like you're here, go here. Don't stay stuck here. Like
Right.
it's basically it. Like just it advances your game state in such a rapid way because obviously like Aurodon is broken. It's just like there as for you to just for you to push. And when people play it as like a way, like you have a Dara and you have Monk, whatever. I'm just like showing an example here, and they have a Shuna engrave and they don't want to use a Shuna because then they can't fiber. It's
Right.
like, yeah, like of course you're gonna lose because you're just killing your own engine. Like play with
Right.
engine first, and then if you like engine gets stopped, then you push into fiber. Like even if like I have like I have Monk here, I have a Dara here, I have a Shuna engrave, and then let's say they have an Imperm, okay? Like I want to a Shuna now because I get the Shura, I get Chijao. And then if they Imperm Chijao and I can't play anymore, that's still better than an Imperm Fiber that I can't do anything with, right? Because an
course.
Imperm Chijao is still an interruption and it's follow-up. And you also have a Shuna and you have a Dara that are gonna float back and give you follow-up because you have a Monk here. So there's just gonna be like things you can do. Like you can keep playing the game, you don't instantly lose, right? And especially if you have like some non-engine in hand, because like that's basically the only stuff you can break on. Like that's how you want to play the deck, and I think it's just genuinely good when you look at it from that perspective. And yeah, I think it's like a really good fiber abusing deck because like you can just like get so much value from it. And yeah, like it doesn't require any breaks. Like sure, Deathbud, but I wouldn't even count it as a break. Like sometimes you just normal it with like an Ashuna, you just go Chijao and you just play from there. It's like whatever, doesn't really matter. So
No, I think it's important we talk about that because Swordsoul doesn't seem like a very busted deck at first glance, where it's like what you want it to do and you know how broken it is and a ton of busted combos. I think it's more dependent on how the player pilots it and what kind of follow up you build for yourself and how you just like take the deck against like in a matchup or something, because you can mess your own plays up if you don't prepare your follow-up in Swordsoul, I think, and overall your play style of Swordsoul, if that makes sense.
Yep, it does make sense. I mean, it just feels like, yeah, I don't know. I think Nesh put it in a really, when I was learning Swordsoul first, I was learning it with Nesh, and shout out to Nesh, of course. Like he put it in a way that like, when you're playing Swordsoul, you always want like 4 interruptions, and you always try to aim for like 4 interruptions. Doesn't matter what they are, and if you're playing beyond that, like if you can extend beyond 4 interruptions, you play for follow up. And that's like ever since he like explained it to me, that was like, oh shit, like my deck like actually like functions now. Like it feels like I'm not passing on air, like like I'm playing next turn, like I'm not like putting everything on board, getting broken, and then like I can't do anything. Like Swordsoul, sorry for that. Swordsoul is at its best when it survives a turn. Like even if your board gets kind of broken, but you have like so much follow up in your hand. Like you have so many cards, and when you're playing on the crackback, you just break them. You just kill them.
Right.
That's when
because it's busted.
That's when
Swordsoul
is the strongest. Yeah. Because Swordsoul is like when you look at the cards in a vacuum, like the extra deck, the main deck, whatever. Swordsoul like kind of like a going second deck, like sort of in a way.
No, it is.
It's a going second deck. Like if you notice like how Ecclesia is worded, it's more a going second card than a going first card. So when you have like a bunch of follow up, just cracking back at them, because if they're like breaking your board, they can't build a full board of their own, and like they also have to beat non-engine in your hand and your field, which you usually probably just win from. But like let's just assume, like on the crackback, that's when you want your deck to be strong. And that's when Swordsoul is like at its strongest. It's like when it's pushing back into you.
Of course.
Like when it can just explode on you.
But if you mess up on turn 1, then it's your own fault. So it's like you shouldn't throw everything at them.
Yeah.
Because it just makes no sense with a deck like Swordsoul. And I think when it first came out, people were so focused and oriented on how with Swordsoul you just need to do so much. And then it was like turn 3 and they had nothing to do. And it's like, I don't know.
You really don't. As long as you prioritize follow up and you have like enough on field to live, you probably win. As long as like there's no unfair game mechanic going on, like deep barrier, side, whatever.
Of course.
So like random bullshit like that, like you probably win, because Swordsoul is like great at breaking boats, just with engine cards. Like just engine does a lot, and then when you like include non-engine, that's when it gets crazy. So yeah, Swordsoul definitely really good. if they do the right hits on the ban list, really looking forward to this deck. I think Despia is dog shit, but I'm not gonna go into it in this video.
Okay.
Um,
I'll keep
I
that in
don't
mind
think
though. I'm gonna have you on
don't
the
think
channel soon.
I don't think Despia is a good deck. So if they do the right hits, Swords is gonna be insane. So yeah,
Okay,
definitely
dope. And
looking
with
forward
that,
to
we
this
should
deck.
go into the deck profile.
I mean, for the hand traps, I played 11. You could probably fit more, but I didn't want to cross 40 cards. So 3 Ash, 3 Ogre, 2 Veiler, 3 Imperm. This can't be Nibiru because it conflicts with Tenyis. So play Imperm, double Veiler because I think Ogre is more valuable than Veiler. So that.
Fair.
And then Ogre and Ash, I think they're just the best hand traps of the format. They're really good. Actually, Nibiru is the best hand trap, but like these are like really good, and you can't really main Nibiru in this deck. So play these. They're also tuners. They work with Tenyis. Important. Sometimes you just normal summon them to play in the first place. Just kill them or
Right.
something. So standard. I don't think there's like much to say here. These hand traps are all really good. And then onto the Sword Soul names. Triple Ecclesia, triple Moi, triple Long One, double Taie. Nothing to say here. Like you play all of these. All of these are standard. Yeah. Yeah, it's just perfect. I don't think you touch this ratio. It's just great.
You know, I've seen people play 3 Taya. Why is that?
No,
Like, what do you
I don't
think
know.
about
I
that?
genuinely don't know. Like if they could explain it to me, I'd probably I'd sit down and listen to them. But I genuinely don't
Okay.
know. Like I don't see
Fair.
why you would ever play 3. I can 2. I think is like the correct amount because
Yeah.
when you're playing a 5 hand starting like a 5 card starting hand, you always want to be opening Moya, and when you're opening Taia, it's just like bad. So you don't want to like banish Tenyis to play in the first place. You want to reveal them in the hand. So why would I, And also clogging on way too many normal summons is bad. Anyways, Tenyis, triple Ashuna, standard. And then for the rest of these, I played like a smaller package. I played double Vishuda, double Adara, and 1 Shatana. I think like the standard this day is like to play 3 of this, 3 of this, and then
Yeah.
like 3 of
It's 3 of
this, and then
everything.
like
Yeah.
you may or may not play this. But I wanted to keep it 40, and I wanted to fit like all of the hand traps that I wanted because I don't think like you can even go to the bathroom without even having like 10 hand traps in your deck if you're playing 40 cards. Like
That's
if you're
fair.
not seeing, if you're not like at around a 50% chance to consistently see like 2 hand traps in your deck, like 40 to 50, like you need to be like in that range to see 2 hand traps.
Yeah.
One just doesn't win you the games often enough. So you just need to see 2 hand traps. So like the only thing that I could cut down on was Tenyis. So this at 2,
Were you
this at 2, and
satisfied?
this at 1.
Did they do enough at this ratio?
Yeah. I mean, this is the old ratio. Like this is how it was played before, like at the start of
Right.
Sword Soul. This
Yeah.
is like the old ratio, so it's nothing like too outrageous. Like going like this, that would be outrageous. But like when you're playing them at 2, it's fine. You don't
Okay.
you don't break that much. It's just completely fine. And also this one is needed, I think. Even if you don't play Heavenly Dragon Circles, you need to play this one. I think it comes up way too much, especially in the Fiber build, where you can go instead of like going Yazi, you can go Shooting Riser, and then you can send like Snow or Token Collector, and then you can Ashina into Shitana, and then you Yazi that way. So I think it's like important in sub combo lines as well.
Right.
So that's it for the Tenyis, and then 3 Emergence, standard. And then I played double Vessel, double Circle.
Okay. So talk to me about that. I want to know all about that.
I wanted both of these. I think both of them are really good. Think they're both situational. They both have like their up and down sides. Yeah, this is better into hand traps, but this is better as like starting plays and playing in general.
Right.
Going down the line, I'd probably like cut these, put this to 3, and then put a third card that I'll come to.
Okay.
We have like a few cards left over, so I'll talk about it in a bit.
Okay.
But this was fine for the event. It was fine.
Okay.
Like if you see this plus a Tenyi, you just win. Like it's not even fair. So yeah, these cards are very good, very strong. And then Desires, best card in the deck. Why did it have to? Why did it have to get limited? I mean, I know why it had to get limited, but it's Pot of Greed. But yeah, and then double Blackout. Now, if I was smart, I'd play triple Circle,
Yeah.
no Vessel, and play 3 Blackouts. This card's broken.
Why?
This card's busted. Like,
No,
it doesn't
yeah, but
matter
it's
that it
like
sucks going second. Every time you
you
open this
don't
card,
care
you
about
win.
that.
No, like, why would you? Because
I
the
mean,
only
yeah, fair,
your whole
but like
deck
it's still a
is
three.
good at
I don't
going
know.
second. Your whole deck is amazing when it goes second. The only shit point where it's like bad is when it goes first. So every time you don't have to search this card, you instantly win because you get to search follow up, and every time you draw this, every time you get stopped, your hand is like 10 times stronger because you would usually search Blackout. So I would
Right.
genuinely play three because it deals with Brave, and Brave is your worst enemy because Brave token and like Brave stuff just clears so much of your field unless you're
Mm-hmm.
if you don't enter like a Synchro 10, just
Yeah.
messes with you so much. So when you have like this, you just win the game instantly. This card is genuinely broken. Like I really
Okay.
want to play like three of this.
No,
And
I
it
get where
doesn't
you're
matter.
coming from. It just freaks
It
me
it,
out when it's a three and
it,
it's a
it
trap.
really doesn't matter like that
Yeah.
it sucks going second. And it kind of even doesn't even suck going second because as soon as like long one pitches this in grave, your Messiah can't be imprimed anymore. Or it can, but it's just not gonna do anything. So as soon as this card's in grave, it's just insane. And like all of the going second cards you want are like here already. Like you have 11 going second cards. Why do you want more? And like your whole deck is already good at going second. Why do
Right.
you need more? And just max out on the circle to be like more hand trap immune. Cut this because I think this is better in the fiber build. Like if I was playing fiber, I'd put Despot as my 41st card. I'd probably like not play these and I'd play three of this. This is like, and I'd probably like
And then you
play.
would leave the blackout at two.
I'd go three Adara, three Vishuda. I'd go up to 43 probably, just because like within the fiber build you want to see Tenyis, and like Vessel is really broken, so I'd cut these
Okay.
completely. But three Blackout, I think it's really underrated. I think people sleep on this card. Just like, well, I play one because you search it when you need it, and when you don't need it, it's like whatever. It's like no, like every time you see this card, you instantly win the game because it's
Okay.
broken. Like, it just wins games. So I would
Well,
probably
but
play
let me
three.
ask you this: would you wanna do this route, or are you planning on putting fiber in and actually, borrowing it and
I don't
tailoring your
I don't know. It
build?
depends. Like it depends on the ban list. I like have a feeling Fiverr is gonna get banned, so I don't want to buy it. I don't want to borrow cards from people. Usually, like all of the cards that I have are my own. I don't enjoy borrowing, so
Okay.
um, I'd probably just play the triple blackout build with Heavenly Dragon Circles because like just I have to deal with less people. But yeah, I
Okay.
think this card like at 2 it was insane. Like at 3 it only gets better. And also it's like free side out slots. Just have 3 slots to
Cool.
side. So
Cool. Okay.
yeah, that's it for the main deck. Clean 40
Yeah.
cards. List was great, except like the small changes I do with blackout. But yeah, extra deck. These are my tokens. All of the Sword Soul tokens are water, so we play water Pokemon as tokens logically,
As one should.
as you should. So the extra deck, Shaman, Triple Monk. It's just
Yeah.
10 cards.
Standard.
Had an
Yeah.
insane play with this once.
Yeah.
My new synchro, the Kishing, got ogred, and I put him on 12 life, and I revived the Kishing with this, and he couldn't play a card, or he just lost the game. So like you can't activate a
Oh,
spell, you can't special a
yeah.
monster, burn you for 12, you lose. It's just screwed.
That's insane.
It was in game 3 of Top Cut vs Dragon Link, so it's
Oh
pretty
wow.
good. Yep.
Nice.
And then for the synchros, Changing, best card in the deck.
Yeah.
Baron is so overrated. Stop making Baron. This card is so much better. This card is even better. The new Kishing. Like this card is
This is the
insane.
new one, right? Yeah.
This card is insane. Like these cards are so busted. Like what
Yeah.
I legit had a dilemma, like trying to figure out which one to make because they're so broken. Like I genuinely, as a rule of thumb, I blind this one, and when I'm playing versus Brave, like I know my opponent's on Brave, I make this.
Okay.
That's my rule of thumb. Or like
Okay.
if they're on Dragon Link or something, you can also make this. But these cards are 30 times better than Baron. Stop making Baron. Baron's overrated.
You heard it.
Chao because killing the bear is fun.
Yeah.
Double box, yeah. You need 2 of this. Like in this build, maybe not in the fiber build, but like in this build, Taya Moi plays come up. So yeah,
Okay.
great card. Breaks boards. Yazi made this once. People sad. It's good though. We'll play it again. Well, you have to play it. And then Baron, the overrated card. Never made this. I always turn 0 Changing. Draco Berserker.
Okay.
Made it once to attack, clear like a monster, and then so like my opponent like thinks I'm gonna pass, because I only have Tenyis in grave. Then like turned this into a monk and his brain exploded. So that was really funny. And then Omega, because people play Invoked in Croatia, and this forces out Schism, so you can imprint the Vinda. That's basically it. With Fiber, the extra deck changes, but
Yeah.
in this build, like 15 slot doesn't matter. Play whatever you prefer. As for the side deck, triple Nib, triple Lancia, and one Veiler. This is the third Veiler.
Yes.
Nib, because I think this should be Gamma going forward, but
Yeah.
for the event, I didn't expect many Brave decks, so
So
this
you
was
would
insane.
completely omit Nibiru moving forward?
It conflicts a lot. It conflicted
Yeah.
like in a lot of hands. It really messed with my Tenyis. Like when when I'm
Okay.
siding in the Nibiru, I have to side out one Ashuna because you don't want to like harder Tenyis. So it like
Right.
messes with your siding patterns a bit as well. So yeah,
No,
it
that's
probably
fair.
should
If
just
you
be
can't
Gamma.
afford to play it, yeah,
Yeah.
it makes sense.
In the Fiber build, this can stay in Nibiru because you just have like a way to get it off the field consistently, or like
Yeah.
you have to put the token attack crash, but you're like losing battle phase. It's really weird. I don't know. I'm really iffy on the card. Lancia was good though.
Yeah.
The third Veiler just like completes the. Well, you'll see the rest of the side. So this is 7, and then 3 Twin, 3 Cosmic, Harpies, and Reboot.
Okay.
If you notice, my main deck, I have Ogres, Veilers, Imprims. Like Ash and Ogre, they're good Restraint Kids. These do nothing.
Yeah.
So when I'm playing Restraint Kids, all of these come in because they're
Yes.
amazing Restraint Kids. You want these. They're better than hand traps. Like Nibiru comes in as well, obviously. But
Yeah.
these are better than hand traps.
They legit are. People sleep on that, and I'm guessing you have your side patterns figured out. So
Yeah, of course.
this makes a lot of sense. Yes.
These are better than hand traps. Like
They
these are
are.
fine. These are better. This deals with sight, obviously, and then this deals with like any random back row Fiesta, and then these
Yeah.
two are just broken one-ups that like every time you play versus a back row deck, if you see this, you probably win. I also
Fair.
side this in the mirror because Blackout Imperm can be annoying. Like you don't care about Chijo Baron, but if they have like Blackout Imperm, drop it, just blow it out. You're
I
playing.
mean, you'd
so it's
rather
fine.
get rid of it. Yes.
Yeah. Back row is way more scary because I like after like testing Blackout like this intensively, I started to value Blackout a lot. Like I realized how broken Blackout is, and every time you get to Blackout, you probably just straight up win the game. Like it
No,
doesn't
it is
matter.
busted.
Like Blackout
Yeah.
just clears everything, and if you have like Blackout plus Shitana, just clears 3 cards for no reason and gives you a monk back, so you go 0 in card advantage. Or well, like you go +3 in card advantage because you clear 3 of their cards and you lose nothing.
Right.
It's just broken. It's genuinely broken. So yeah, the deck was good for my expectations. I think it was more. I don't know. I think like the whole weekend I played really well. I'll say that. I usually don't say that, but like genuinely like this weekend it felt like I played really well. I wasn't making many misplays, and like most of the time my lines were correct. There was like one stutter, but it didn't cost me the game because I was like in a winning game state anyway, so I kind of relaxed and stopped focusing. But the deck was really good, and if you pilot it well and you know what you're doing, just gonna do well. And I think like the best example of that is Wheatley from Team Armageddon. Like he's been playing this deck, he's been grinding it. He like beats everyone with it, like genuinely consistently. Just proves that the deck is good, and he doesn't even play Fiber. Like most of like my discussion for this event was with him because most of like my theory group people that I play with are playing based or like Brave decks, which I was also doing, but I decided to sell my Brave engine. I didn't think I'd need it for regionals, and there's nothing coming up.
Okay.
So most of my discussion about this deck was with him, and he gave me like some really good input on like how to play the build fiberless and how how he approaches the build and how he approaches the deck and what he thinks of the deck. And I think like everything he said is valid, and he's a great player. Honestly, helped me out a lot, and he just proves that like as long as you know what you're doing with the deck, and as long as you're like doing things correctly, like prioritizing the right synchros, understanding your win conditions, understanding your game state, understanding how to grind, how to play the deck, which takes time because this is a very hard deck, you're gonna win. And he's like the best example of that. He's just someone that showed me a lot and gave me a lot of information. So thank you to Wheatley for that.
Well, that's nice. Those are very nice closing words. Any other words you want to say, like any other shout outs or anything like that before we wrap this video up?
Yeah, obviously, I want to shout out my own team, Frozen Card Gaming. Please do check out our card market down below. Or if you're gonna put it in the description, just check out Frozen Card Gaming on Card Market. Shout out Wheatley again. Wheatley was big support for me. You know, when no one wanted to talk about the deck, Wheatley was there to give a link at like 5 a.m. in the morning when it was for me or whatever, or for him. I don't even know. He helped out. He was a massive help. Shout out to Raphael Naven because he shouts me out every time in his videos. So here's one back for you. And shout out to Theodora, the best Yumi on EU West, and my emotional support this weekend. I made sure to win the event for her because I told her and I promised her I'd give her a shout out. So here's her shout out. Thank you for that, XQC Finger. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Nothing more, nothing less.
Great. Well, that was very nice. And as always, thank you for coming. I appreciate you a lot. Anytime you respond and you want to come to the channel, I appreciate that very much. And you're always welcome again, as I'm sure you will be joining me sometime soon in the future. So yeah,
Yep.
congratulations on the entire thing. You won
Thank
it. You won a huge event. That's a very
Yep.
good accomplishment. And with a deck that's not like something that people would naturally gravitate towards, with Based and Brave running around. So yeah, that's really good on you, and I congratulate you for that. So
Yep.
thank you again.
Thank you.
And if you guys enjoyed, as always, make sure to leave your notes down in the comments. Congrats, Ivan. Give the video a like. Give me a sub. And yeah, check out the social media, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Bye bye.